People talk about monsters and want to know where they're found. So we look on mountains, in the sea, in caves, in the ground. We look for these ferocious beasts with hideous faces, but I happen to think we look in the wrong places. A monster is angry and only cares about things that benefit him, then can be happy and calm on a whim. Give them what they want, and they'll be calm and quiet. But take it away, and they will be ready to start a riot. They don't care who they hurt. They're just trying to get what they need. They will lie, cheat, and steal. It's like they don't even bleed. They become emotionless, and their souls are taken away, but they aren't only hurting themselves. Everyone around them has to pay. This monster I'm describing is starting to scare me, you see, because this monster I've been describing all along, it was me.
Everything that I was taught to be, growing up, I neglected morals, values. I didn't live by integrity. I didn't care who I had to rob, who I had to hurt, emotionally, physically. If it meant getting my next high, I was willing to do anything. In college, before my football injury, I was a good student. I felt like I was a pretty good guy. I did well academically, performed well, athletically. We were practicing an onside kick, and I took a helmet to my lower back. I cracked my 11th and 12th vertebrae. After that, started taking painkillers for my back, Percocets. The bottle that should have lasted me for a month, I consumed all the pills within a matter of 2 or 3 days. My brain is just wired chemically different than others, and I believe that, it was something that was dormant until, I picked up that first substance and started using.
At one point, we called her Percocet mom growing up. She would use Tramadol, Xannies, but I think that drug addiction had such a big impact in her life that her time and her focus wasn't on us. It was on the drug. My brother was older. Like, for him, it was different. Like, he was almost old enough to go out on his own, and it kind of left me with my sister, and so having to take care of her and making sure she got to school and, making sure that when she cried at night that she was okay and that she knew that it was going to be okay. So, I think emotionally it really puts a strain on you that I don't think that they realize. Literally watching my mom withdraw, put money towards drugs rather than paying bills, and going towards drugs rather than food. We've lost houses over it. So, it's rough. And I think it's rough because I know her past, and it's hard to forgive somebody like that. But in the same sense, that's my mom.
6-6. One dropped off. We're out of signal 2. Signal 2.
I don't believe that the dealers or the drug addicts do consider the danger they're putting law enforcement or emergency responders in when they're overdosing, when they're coming to the city to purchase narcotics. And I believe that because it continues to happen. And it just shows the negligence of not only the addicts, but the dealers who continue to deliver, the drug, resulting in overdose deaths. It takes an impact on law enforcement immensely.
And he had a pen on him, which with the guts ripped out of it.
Yeah, so he's making another crack pipe. I believe it was about 3 years ago. I was dispatched to a motor vehicle accident, nothing out of the ordinary. I get on scene. It's up on 4 Mile Drive in the northeast section of the city. And as I arrive on scene, the vehicle is on its side. There's a white male, kind of staggering around the vehicle. I make contact with him, and he seems disoriented, obviously under the influence of something. I didn't know if it was alcohol or a controlled substance at that point. And as I spoke with him, I saw what I believe was a blue waxing baggie. It's typically used to package heroin. And I asked him specifically, do you have anything that's going to sick me, poke me, hurt me? That's kind of my spiel before I search somebody. And nope, no, I don't have anything on me. So I didn't have gloves on at the time. Again, this was like the very beginning of the heroin epidemic. So I reached in to his left pocket with my left hand, and I immediately, felt a sharp object. As I removed my hand from his pocket, the needle was actually sticking from the palm of my hand, just hanging there. And it was uncapped in his pocket. And it turns out he was, using heroin prior to the accident. I believe I looked at my partner who was standing there with me, and I was just mortified, because at that point you don't know if this person has any types of diseases. You don't know if maybe you came into contact with, a secondary exposure from the needle. So EMS personnel was on scene, and they triaged me. So they took me right into the ambulance, they flushed it, and then I had to go out to the work center for a year straight, every 3 months, getting hepatitis shots and checkups just to make sure that I didn't contract anything from the exposure.
This is the kind of stuff you find in parks too.
This is the camper that I lived in during active addiction for off and on for about 6 months. At this point, I'd burned all my bridges. I wasn't allowed to stay with anybody. My family didn't want anything to do with me. So I decided, this was my only option, be on the streets or, live here. Had no water, no electricity, no sewage. I went to the bathroom in the woods. Luckily I had a little stove that I could keep it warm enough in the winter. But it was, the insane part about it was I was okay with it. As long as I had a substance to put in my body and I could still get high, I was okay with living here. I had some minor run-ins with the law before, nothing serious, but this was up here. This was the first time that I had some serious charges against me. I had illegal possession of a firearm, bad checks, burglaries, theft for unlawful taking. I think ultimately I was charged with 16 counts of felony twos. Everything that I came in contact with, I ruined it. I was sick of letting people down. And most of all, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I wasn't happy with the man I had become. I've had guns pulled on me. I've been shot at. I've been in physical altercations that risked my livelihood and my well-being. I've been with 2 or 3 of my friends who had overdosed right in front of me while we were using. And I think, I took a long look at myself when I was locked up and knew that I had to make some serious changes if I ever wanted to live a meaningful life.
Compared to other people, I feel like it starts you off with a disadvantage, because not only it makes me personally feel almost like at this worthless state, like, okay, I can't do anything, nobody knows what's happening no matter how much is reported, and I'm still here. Like, why? It affected a lot, and school was frustrating because I never had the help with homework. I dropped out just because she didn't care, and I knew she didn't care. And there was like a lot of times where like you get depressed from it. Like you would sit there and cry and like you just don't know. And they don't see any of it. They just want to know when they're going to use next or
You know, I love for every one person that I can actually help and they appreciate it, it kind of outweighs the 10 people who call me a pig or spit on the ground when I walk by, that type of thing. "7556, let me know if you need a repeat."
Good copy, stand by.
As a law enforcement officer, being looked at negatively by the drug users and dealers because of the job we do is frustrating. For one, you know, our job is to protect and serve. We don't go out and target people because, you know, they're a drug user, or they have a criminal history, or they're a drug dealer. It's more so the aspect of getting the drug off the streets, getting the help to the people that need it, and ultimately, you know, eliminating the dealers. So, and I think that's where the perception that the police are bad comes from, because we're all out to get them. No, we're not. That's our job. It's not only to protect the citizens, it's to protect the users. So dealing with the stress of the job and being able to go home and not take that with you, it's difficult. The best thing to do is go home, and I just stay busy. You know, I spend time with my family. I appreciate the time that I have with my family because I don't know if it's guaranteed.
You know, I can say that I am a productive member of society. I'm a good son today. I'm a better man today than I was in my addiction.
I really strive for everything I have, and so I think that growing up watching everything that happened has really made where I am now even more important to me.